Hello, colleagues. As we begin the second quarter of this year, 2024, for today, I want to continue our entrepreneurship series by giving some 4 tips that can help you succeed as an entrepreneur. And I will take this off by starting with a quote that says that where you are today is based on the choices you made yesterday, and where you'll be tomorrow is based on the choices you make today. So it is indeed critical to be keen on the choices we make today, because these will define what we shall be tomorrow. And we all know that the times are challenging. However, all the water in the world cannot sink a ship unless it gets inside the ship. So all these worries that we have can't sink us unless we allow them to sink, to get inside us. The times are tough now, and the number of mistakes made by our leaders in the past years are impacting on our current times and the future. But for us to succeed in this difficult environment, we need to, first of all, choose what we believe in carefully. And by choosing what we believe in carefully, it is simple that what you choose to believe is what you get. If you choose to believe life is unfair, that you've gotten the short end of the stick, all people out there are against you, and you are filled with fear and bitterness, and the number of fearful, bitter people who have gone on to be successful is almost zero. So if you want better results in life, at home, or on your job, you have to quit whining about the economy, the customers, whether sijui parliament, president, etc. You need to be able to choose new and better beliefs. After all, this is where lasting change starts. It starts in your head, not in your behaviors. So if you choose to believe that you can hang in there, that you can make it through the tough times, that you can get out of bed, that you can find a way to make your business back work, you are going to see some positive changes. So your new empowering beliefs will get your mind churning, your emotions raging, and your hands working. It is no wonder that immigrants who come to Uganda are 4 times more likely to become millionaires than we, the native Ugandans. And it is not because these migrants are smarter than us, but it is that their beliefs are different. Many of them, especially Indians, came here believing that this was the land of opportunity, that a person could become almost anything he or she wanted to become. And he or she, if they worked for it, they will be able to get their dream. The way our youth are going to the Middle East, Canada, and making it, it is the same way they can make it here. We just need to work on what we believe in. So, colleagues, remember that what you choose to believe is what you get. And we need hence to choose what we believe carefully. After choosing what we believe carefully, the next tip for us to succeed this year is for us to acknowledge our inner critic. We need to be able to acknowledge the critique inside us. And we've all got one. So don't fool yourself thinking that for you don't have one. you do. Your inner critic is the accumulation of all the fears, the doubts, worries, and limiting messages you've picked up over the years. It is that voice inside you that gives you all the reasons you can't be successful. And your inner critic is the negative voice that keeps you locked into failing, into being unproductive, into those unwanted behaviors year after year. And as Mackenzie puts it, the singular goal of your inner critic is to keep you safe, 100% safe and free from any pain. It will use past failures as evidence to why you shouldn't take that action or try a new approach or even think of a new thought. And if you want to live in a cocoon and never change anything in your life, then your inner critic will be happy. But for you, you won't be. Of course, you may think, what's the big deal? So if I have a negative thought once in a while, well, it's a really big deal. The bad thoughts and actions can never produce good results. This is but a saying that nothing can come from corn but corn, and hence nothing can come from bad thoughts but bad results. To put it in another way, you never get a positive result out of a negative thought. So you need to acknowledge your inner critic and be aware that it is what it is doing to your life and your chances for success. After all, your inner critic will often win over your rational mind. Take an example of the New Year's resolutions you had just 3 months ago, December, when we began 2024. You note that many of them have already been put aside. You've already given up. Even though your rational mind told you that you needed to take action for you to change by year end, within just 3 months, you've given up. Because your inner critic is telling you don't need to go through that pain and misery. You deserve a break. And hence, you give up on your thoughts. Your inner critic will do just anything to stop you from changing or achieving greater success. Sometimes it is scary, and sometimes it is just plainly funny. Hence, as you acknowledge your inner critic, you need to be able to manage it. You need to look out for skills on how you should manage your inner critic. You can't allow it to have control over you because it will never push you towards success. Your inner critic will never give you positive messages such as, don't try that, you are likely to be successful. Or don't listen to that speaker. Or go to that class, you will move up in your company. For it, it is always highly critical. It is so afraid of change and so very much against success that it will keep sending you negative messages until you are totally immobilized. At least that is what it will try to do. When you hear yourself thinking, they will never promote me, you can't possibly find a life partner, that is your inner critic expressing its fear of change. It is trying to get you back off and retreat. The inner critic is not looking for solutions. It only looks for ways to keep you stuck where you are. And one way to manage your inner critic and keep it under control is to master up your courage. Have the courage to go boldly in the direction of your dreams. You need to refuse to be like so many people who think they are dreams and instantly think of all reasons they can't achieve them. Refuse to be like the majority of people who shoot themselves in the foot and then admire their marksmanship. And finally, to be successful, the other tip I will give for this year is for you to be able to counteract your inner critic. We've seen you need to acknowledge it, You need to manage it, and then you need to counteract it. And counteracting your inner critic can be done in two ways. One way is to expose it, which I will call the exposure method. And this you can do by writing all your critical, cynical, negative thoughts into a journal as they occur to you, and expose your critique to daylight. Many times the written word will show you how silly and unfounded those particular thoughts happen to be. The other method is what we can call the two-column method, where you can divide a piece of paper into two columns. On the left side, write down all your inner critic thoughts and statements, and on the right, write an opposing positive statement. An example, you may want to apply for a new job with a new company that is an hour away from your home. In your left-hand column, your inner critic may have you write down things like, that's way too far. I would have to wake up 40 minutes earlier than I do. And I hate mornings. On the right side, look for the positives to counteract the negatives, which could be like, by waking up early, it will allow you to take a bus and don't have to waste time in traffic. It could be an opportunity for you to listen into some books that you've always wanted to read. In other words, for any negative statement, try to come up with a positive one. And the power of this exercise is that it will get you out of your old negative thinking habits and will give you experience in creating new and better opportunities. Just don't be fooled or get too impatient. This exercise takes a lot of practice, as many of us have had years to perfect our negative, self-sabotaging thinking. But I encourage you to get in the habit of counteracting your negative thoughts each time you have one. If you stick with it, it gets easier and easier. But be careful what you think. You really have everything you need inside you to have more success than ever before. I wish you a very good and marvelous, successful entrepreneur year 2024.